Everyone thought the queen was weak until one quiet decision changed the entire kingdom. Queen Elara ruled a peaceful land where people lived simple lives and trusted the system that had protected them for years. She did not wear heavy crowns or sit above others. She walked among the public, listened more than she spoke, and believed silence could carry more wisdom than loud commands. Many admired her kindness, but many doubted her strength. They believed a ruler should be feared, not questioned. One summer, the river that fed the farms, homes, and city wells began to dry. Fields cracked, animals grew restless, and families saved every drop of water. Fear slowly spread across the kingdom. Advisors gathered in the palace and demanded immediate action. They wanted strict laws, heavy control, and punishment for anyone who wasted water. They believed pressure would force solutions. Queen Elara listened calmly. She did not agree. She did not refuse. She asked for time. This confused the advisors. The public grew impatient. Whispers spread that the queen was too soft to handle a real crisis. Instead of announcing new rules, the queen sent a message across the land. He invited farmers, builders, teachers, merchants, and workers to gather in the town square. No one understood why a ruler would ask common people for answers. Some came out of curiosity. Some came out of anger. Some came because they had nothing left to lose. When the square filled, the queen stood before them without guards or banners. She asked one question that surprised everyone. "What do you see that we don't?" Silence followed. People looked at each other, unsure if they were allowed to speak freely. Slowly, a farmer stepped forward and spoke about old water paths blocked by forgotten stone. A builder mentioned broken channels wasting water every night. A teacher spoke about children growing up without understanding value. More voices followed. The queen listened to all of them without interruption. As the sun set, she thanked the people and dismissed the crowd without giving a single order, leaving the kingdom unsure of what would come next. The next morning, the queen called her advisors again. They expected commands, but she surprised them. She repeated what the public had said, word for word. She did not add her opinion. She did not remove anything. Then she said quietly, "The solution already exists. We just refuse to hear it." Work began the same day. Old water paths were reopened, not by force, but by volunteers who felt responsible. Builders repaired broken channels and reduced waste instead of hiding mistakes. Teachers introduced lessons about care and responsibility, and children carried those lessons home. The queen did not threaten anyone. She stood among workers, listening, learning, and guiding only when needed. Weeks passed. The river slowly returned to its natural flow. Crops began to recover. Fear turned into effort. People who once waited for orders now acted on their own. They did not feel controlled. They felt trusted. Still, not everyone was convinced. Some advisors warned the queen that giving people freedom could weaken authority. They feared chaos. The queen responded with calm certainty. Authority without trust breaks. Trust without fear builds. One evening, the queen walked alone through the town. She saw people sharing water, fixing tools together, teaching children. No guards followed her. No one bowed. They smiled instead. That night, heavy rain fell across the kingdom for the first time in months. The river overflowed gently, filling the land. People celebrated, believing the crisis was over. But the queen knew something more important had changed. The next day, she addressed the public again. She did not claim victory. She said, "This river returned because you chose responsibility over blame." Her words spread beyond the kingdom. Neighboring lands began to speak of a ruler who did not rule with fear, but with understanding. Yet the queen knew the real test of leadership was not solving a crisis, but ensuring the lesson survived long after the problem was gone. She prepared one final decision that would define her reign forever. Instead of building statues or celebrating herself, Queen Elara made a quiet announcement. From that day forward, every major decision would begin with public listening gatherings, not for show, not for approval, for truth. Advisors were uneasy. They feared losing influence. The queen accepted that risk. Years passed. The kingdom grew stronger, not richer alone, but wiser. People felt ownership of their land, their choices, and their future. Mistakes still happened, but they were corrected together, not hidden. Other rulers tried to copy her methods but failed. because they listened only to appear kind, not to understand. When the queen grew old, she stepped down peacefully. No conflict followed. The system she built stood on trust, not her presence. Children who once learned about water responsibility now taught their own families about leadership and care. Long after her reign, people remembered one sentence she had spoken during the crisis. Power that silences voices creates fear. Power that listens creates strength. Her story was passed down not as a tale of royalty, but as a lesson for everyone. Leadership was never about position. It was about responsibility, humility, and listening when it mattered most.